How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massive Beer Reviews. Back a little bit of coffee. Oatmeal Stout. Hopeful goodness up in this piece in the form of Swamphead Brewing. It's their Midnight Oil. This be a coffee oatmeal stout. Ale with coffee added. 5% alcohol by volume. Yeah, fair trade coffee, hops, water, yeast, malt, wheat, and oats. Done and done. Big story time in the back. I am not going to read that because I'm just going to dive into the sucker. Because that's what I want to do. This comes courtesy of my boy Charles. He sent me off a bunch of Swamphead stuff. He turned me on to the brewery. I've said this in every review, so you're going to hear it over and over again. Turned me on to Swamphead about almost 4 years ago. And then ended up working at the brewery. And sent me off a nice big box of beers on his own accord. Let's put it that way. Label-wise, again, not too shabby. Not some of my favorite labels from Swamphead. I like this little kind of edging they put on their beers with this kind of, whatever you want to call it, kind of cool edge. There you go. But in the grand scheme of things, the labels could use some work. A little bit. As far as the beer goes, that looks like a coffee stout. Nice, rich, thick, dark. It's got a nice, what I like my coffee to look like, colored head. And as far as ABV goes, a whopping 5%. So this is a small beer. This is like a proper ABV stout with coffee added. See how the nose goes. Yeah, big roast malt component, but there's also this cool kind of like almost getting to the point of like maple syrup, but just stopping short kind of brown sugar component to it. Comes off really, really nice. Just a little bit of soft chocolates in there. A little bit of like a hazel nutty kind of vibe to it too. But it's very much that sweetened maltiness with that added coffee to it. Nice roast to it, nothing over the top. It's not like a burnt, super dark roast, something like that, but it's definitely like a medium roast coffee with that nice kind of soft sweetness, almost like a black coffee black with a little bit of brown sugar kind of vibe going for it. I can get down with that. Let's dive in. Cheers. That's nice. It's nice. Big roast component to it. It's got like a very much like a porter-like mouthfeel to it, like export stout porter-like mouthfeel. Very creamy, very fluffy. Big roast component. So you get that roast from the coffee, you get a roast from the malt, and I believe you're getting a little bit of that bittering from the hop. So it does come off bittering and roasty. A little bit more than what you'd expect based off the nose. I'm not necessarily going to sit here and say I hate it, but it's definitely leaning heavily in that direction. There's chocolate abounds in the actual taste. You didn't really get a ton of it, or at least I didn't get a ton of it on the nose, but in the mouth, there's a ton of it, and it comes off very much like a semi-sweet baker's chocolate kind of vibe going on there. It's just that roast, probably a little bit bigger than where I'd want it to be, but you're talking about a 5% beer. Getting zero of that metallic off flavor astringency that I'm so susceptible to. So it's really well made, really cleanly made, and honestly, I was going to sit here and be like, it's just a little bit too roasty, a little bit too kind of bittering on that malt and coffee end of things, but it's a 5% oatmeal coffee stout. So the fact that it's giving me that level of impact at its ABV is really cool. But the biggest one I'm going to have to knock it for is mouthfeel. You're talking about an oatmeal stout. I know 5%, it's kind of hard to pull it off, but a 5% beer, I kind of want my stout to have a little bit of sultriness, especially being an oatmeal stout. In the grand scheme of things, that's where it kind of lacks a little bit. But I'm picking nits at this point. In the grand scheme of things, it's a super tasty, super chuggable beer that, does not suck. This is kind of exactly what I wanted. I wanted a low ABV, kind of high impact stout. It just skewed a little bit more bittering and a little bit more roasty than I thought it would be based off of the nose. Not necessarily a bad thing. It just kind of threw me for a loop based off of what my nose is telling me. But a fantastic beer nonetheless. Tasty, chuggable, drinkable. Does not suck. Let's talk about it. One of the better oatmeal stouts, coffee or otherwise, that I've had as of late. Definitely in the running. It's up there. It's tasty. It's drinkable, especially in that low ABV category. There's some I do dig better, so it's not going to get to Mount Rushmore status or even kind of sniff that, but it's definitely in the mix of a tasty, really well done beer. And I can't, express enough how much at 5% I'm really digging it. That's the biggest point. You told me this is 7-8%. Might not be that jazzed over it, but being 5%, that's pretty cool. Value and availability. No idea. Listen, let me know what's what, and leave you with, if you like what we like this, if you like big, roasty, toasty stouts, this sucker will do you proper. So there you go. For a low ABV, mind you. Say that one more time. There you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers if you want to check me out doing the social media stuff. Beer Massive. You want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a little roasty, toasty jammer right now. Hope to see you next time. Cheers.